What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today guys, we're going to be talking about the best year 6.7 Powerstroke. We're going to talk about changes made in the 2020, the third generation of the 6.7 Powerstroke. We're getting started right now. But first, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up, drop your comments down below. What do you think of the third generation of the 6.7 Powerstroke? Worth it or not to trade in one of your previous years? Let's hear those comments, guys. And shameless merch plug, Teespring for all of your 6.0 Bros merch. Go check those guys out. So in 2020, Ford released the third generation of the 6.7 Powerstroke. Obviously, guys, we have our video talking about the 2015 changes that were made, and we talk about the Gen 1 and Gen 2 essentially. We kind of separate them a little bit, but if you're looking for that in-depth detail about the earlier generations to help you make a decision, go check out that video. It'll be first comment down below from me. It'll have that video in there. Go check it out. So I actually have notes. I don't typically take notes, but I thought this one deserved to have some notes. So 2020, Ford changed it. They're on their third generation now. Some of those changes were in the fuel system. They upped the PSI to 36,000. That was a big change. They're still utilizing a lift pump to a CP4 pump. So that part isn't really different other than it's creating more pressure. Obviously the injectors were upgraded to go along with that. So it's basically an entirely new fuel system. I don't know if the lift pump is different or not, but for all intents and purposes, the big parts are different. Injectors are now capable of, I believe it's up to 8 injections per cycle, so that's significant. I don't know off the top of my head, there's like 3 or 5 for older generations, but it is upgraded, so that's a big change there. If I had to guess, that's gonna help really quiet it down. It's probably more emissions based than anything else. I doubt it's necessarily in raw performance, but it is a change. The injectors are at least more capable than older generations. Now, part of those changes required them to also make a change in piston, which also led to a connecting rod change. And as they went to steel pistons, that's a pretty big deal for the diesel world. So now Ford 6.7 Powerstrokes are coming with steel pistons, which means there's retrofit kits out there from other companies. I believe Kill Devil Diesel offers some retrofit kits. Super cool stuff, huge in the performance aspect, super cool thing that's happened, which has also led to steel pistons and other Powerstrokes as well. Aftermarket platforms, that is, for purchasing pistons. I think that's super cool. It was a big change for this. So the piston's actually much smaller in height, so it has smaller side skirts, which should lead to less friction, which is a good thing. Also, just in durability, it's a much stronger piston. The connecting rod also has to be longer for it. So those are two changes. The oil jets that help cool the piston are also different. Instead of shooting through like a cavity in the old ones, now they just kind of fan out and shoot the whole undercoat of the piston to help cool it. So there were other changes that needed to happen with that. Low pressure oil pump is also different. I believe it's now a variable pump, which is cool. I don't know if it'll help with overall efficiency or if you'll actually see an increase in fuel economy, but it is a change they made. And if I had to guess, it's one none of us will really realize is happening. Hopefully it's as reliable as the older stuff. That's only my concern with some of those changes, because it's not like necessarily a proven thing, but we'll see what it does. I'm sure in some applications it is. On the top side of the engine, we have revised cylinder heads. I don't know what that means for us. I guess it probably does mean they're more durable. I don't know if they flow anymore, but they are revised from earlier generations. They've done this now 2 times, I think. I think they've revised them twice. Don't hold me to that one, but this isn't the first time they've done it. Also a revised intake manifold up top. It's still a 2-piece, but they did away with the plastic. It's now all aluminum, so that's kind of cool. I guess, again, I don't think it's something we'll notice. The turbocharger I do want to talk about, they have revised that. The first big change is it's now electronically actuated. It's not a oil actuated VGT system the way previous generations have been. So it's now electronically actuated, which has seemed to be pretty good in other applications, so I think it'll be good here. My concern with the turbo is they also went to a smaller turbocharger in the 2020 model year. So the third generation saw a smaller turbo. I don't know. I'm not super thrilled about it personally. I think they should have left that part alone and kept it the same size. There could be other reasons for it. I expect really fast spool up. I expect virtually no lag, but I also think in people really using it to tow heavy loads, I wonder if they're going to be burning turbos out the way they did in earlier generations. So you 11 through 14 guys have seen that. And I'm sure someone's gonna get super upset about that every time I reference 11 through 14 turbos not being as reliable. Somebody in the comments goes nuts. I'm not saying there aren't some of you guys out there that have ran them forever. I'm just saying, generally speaking, less reliable. And probably the thing I am actually most excited for in the 2020 is actually the 10-speed transmission. I really want to drive one of these trucks for a little because I think that's cool, the 10-speed. Guys are loving them out there from what I hear. They seem to be reliable. I just think it's really cool they've pushed it to 10. I know I can tell a difference with 6-speed. I love my 6-speed transmission over my 5R. 5R was great for its time, but you know, we're working and pushing the envelope more and more, so the 10-speed, I think that's probably the coolest thing that happened in 2020, along with the steel pistons. They're both kind of a toss-up for me. So now going on, guys, if you have an older Powerstroke and you're looking at getting a new one, or if you're one of the 11 through 14 guys and maybe the 2015 didn't quite sell you on it, do I think you should trade up to a 2020? I'm gonna say no. I really think the value of them, if you're financially able to, first off, that's a completely different thing. Like, I couldn't afford a 2020 6.7 or a 21, 22, whatever's coming out here this summer. But overall, I don't feel the changes for what the average person's gonna use this truck for are significant enough to warrant a change if you're not having issues. 11 through 14 guys, I think really if you were to jump up to a 17, 18, 19, whatever, I think you'd be happy and you'd probably get a better deal on it. But I do think all these changes are good changes. That 10-speed transmission, again, I think is super cool. The steel pistons, I think, are super cool. I just don't think they're gonna make a big enough change for, especially like 15 through 19, if you still love your truck, I wouldn't make a change at all. It's one thing if you're tired of your truck, you wanna change, whatever, I get that. But generally speaking, I just don't, these trucks are so expensive. I would rather have a 15, me personally, and yes, money plays a role in this, but I would honestly rather have a 15 through 19 and pay a little less. I love the 2020 body. It made small changes. I think it's super cool. I would love to have that truck, but I'm not getting rid of my 15 for it. So in my opinion still stands, 15 and newer, the newest that you can afford is probably gonna be your best bet as far as having the most reliable truck. The 13s were good trucks as well. I believe the last big changes really came in for the early first generation came after the 11 model year. There were some changes and they seem to pretty much have it all ironed out, but 13 or newer, I think you're really safe. 11s are still good, guys, don't get upset. Like I said, I always get a few guys with 11s, like I have 200,000 miles on my truck. There's a ton of them out there like that. I'm not saying they're bad trucks, I'm just saying they are more failure prone. It's an honest thing. And guys, also, this isn't a comprehensive list. I tried to get the big stuff on these trucks as far as changes that were made for you guys to look at to help you determine it. Again, I'm not saying the 2020 isn't an improvement. I do think overall it's a big improvement, but man, they're just so expensive. I'd have a hard time paying that. I'd probably buy a 17 or 18, personally speaking. A couple years used, low miles. I mean, I have my 15, I love my 15, I love this body style, but I do think the 17 and newers look a little sharper. But love all of them, guys. All your 6.7 Powerstrokes really are pretty good trucks. Again, my preference, I firmly believe 15 and newer is your best bet for having the least amount of issues. I do plan to do a reliability issue talking about how to hopefully keep your CP4 pump happy and just overall preventing problems with the 6.7. There's not a ton and they're not super frequent, but there are some problems. So we're gonna talk about that in a future upload, guys. That's all for this one. Just wanted to kind of hit the highlights. Again, I don't think there are any huge reliability changes that you're gonna need, that the average person's gonna see in the 2020 model year. It's just my opinion. I wanna hear what you guys have to say below though, so drop those comments. My first comment down below is gonna be the in-depth video talking about the first model years and the changes, the first generation and second generation. Go check that out if you guys are looking for more 6.7 Powerstroke information. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, check your merch out, comments down below, guys. I'll see you in the next upload.